The Supreme Court is in the news a lot, including for things that most justices don't want to be in the news for. That includes this Ginni Thomas scandal and calls for her husband, Justice Clarence Thomas, to recuse from any January 6 cases because of her conduct. There are texts between her and Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows, when they were in office in the White House, that shows efforts essentially to support overturning the 2020 election. Thomas also appeared to invoke conspiracy theories and lies that have been widely debunked, including the QAnon idea that basically the left was committing a heist in the fact that Joe Biden won and that the Biden crime family, quote, will be living in barges off Gitmo to face military tribunals for sedition and asking Meadows, make a plan, release the crack and save us from the left. So Ginni Thomas is now in the news because of her own conduct. It may relate to her husband, but it's her words and deeds and what she did relating to the election. And all of this has renewed scrutiny on these two very powerful people, and specifically Ginni's history, including her direct involvement, something she doesn't deny, with what many have called a cult. Indeed, there's a newly released video from back in 1986 that shows her discussing her struggle after leaving that cult. The video was shared by Dr. Hassan. He's a mental health professional. He's an expert on cults. He works to get people out of them, which is what she did. He knew Ginni Thomas in 1986, and he's here to discuss all of this in the wider context of our culture of political extremism. I'll mention that the New Yorker has also reported on this in prior coverage before this latest scandal, noting that Ginni Thomas flunked the bar exam and fell in with what they called a, quote, cultish self-help group, Lifespring, whose members were encouraged to strip naked and mock each other's body fat. Now, whatever one thinks of that reporting and that group, Thomas did break out of it a very long time ago. She even became a public advocate and critic of these cults, speaking out in what she says was an effort to help other people avoid this risk, this fate. As we learn about all of this and its connection to potentially some of what we're going through today, not only in her life, but as a nation, we're joined by Dr. Hassan himself. He has over 40 years experience in this area, including what he calls the undue influence tactics and tax, basically, that are used by these cults or authoritarian leaders. And I should mention, he has a book out that does close the circle on the politics of some of this called The Cult of Trump. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Ari.
Absolutely. You've worked in this field, and I went out of my way to be very clear about what happens and what we know and don't know, because the fact that somebody got caught up in this is not a rejection of everything they ever otherwise do in life. Indeed, let's begin there, because you've called attention to this and how she spoke out. So we have a little bit of this video that's, you're the source, just to tell viewers, of her speaking out after the break. Take a look.
When you come away from a cult, you have to find a balance in your life as far as getting involved with fighting the cult or exposing it. What was it that made you get into that group, and what open questions are there that still need to be answered? I'm really I'm struggling with a balance between that. I still have so many questions, so all those things that got me to Lifespring are still there.
So let's start there. How did you come to meet her, and how did she strike you at that time?
I was an activist for 10 years at the point of that meeting, which was a focused support group meeting. I was a national coordinator of that for a time. Essentially, I had warm feelings towards her. For years, she was involved in cult awareness briefings. I was invited in 1988 to do one of these congressional briefings. We were trying to do an anniversary of Jonestown, actually, and make Cult Awareness Week, because Congressman Leo Ryan was assassinated at the orders of Jim Jones, and so many people and children died unnecessarily. And so she was wonderful. She introduced me to Clarence Thomas in 1992. I shook his hand. And that's the last time I remember interacting with her.
Did she, at that time, did she strike you as fully out or over that experience and thus sort of back to whatever baseline that might be, or did she strike you as still processing it or caught up in some of it?
Oh, I think she evolved dramatically from 1986 to 1992. I don't know what caused her to go down the QAnon rabbit hole, but I can say that there are some very bad actors who want to undermine America and democracy and human rights and women's rights to choose. And people are telling me that Trump was controlling Ginni Thomas. I don't think so. I think somebody else was kind of giving her the ideas, and she was going to Trump and telling him who to fire and who to hire and other things like that.
And I mentioned the New Yorker's reporting. That article states that at one point Donald Trump, according to the New Yorker, said that he thought she was too far out for him. People could take that for what it is. A separate article has a similar theme, and they said, quote, the lists that she was pushing were, quote, so insane and unworkable. A lot of them were dripping with paranoia and read like they were written by a disturbed person. So that's inner circle Trump criticism. That's where I'm curious, given your knowledge, whether you see this as a coincidence, someone who had this long ago history goes on to get involved in politics, or do you see any linkage here, like you explore in your book, the idea that some of the allure of certain organizations, lies, conspiracies, ways to explain the world overlap into some people's chosen politics?
Yeah, so how I see it is she was involved with this large group awareness training that did a lot of hypnotic techniques and behavior modification techniques aimed at breaking people's egos down. She described one exercise where the members were told to strip naked down to panties and bikinis, and then were body shamed about it. They did a lot of things like that. Confront your fear. Somebody was afraid of drowning, and he jumped into a moving river and drowned because he didn't know how to swim, and they got sued heavily.
There are politicians who talk about issues that are hot button for QAnon, who, based on their record and background, we have evidence to believe that they know they're trafficking in lies and they're doing it for a political reason. Shocker, not the first time that's ever happened in politics. It seems something different if Miss Thomas or Justice Thomas actually believe some of this stuff. Do you think there's an overlap of this, or is that too far because someone else could push back and say, hey, Ari, a lot of people believe in horoscopes. A lot of people believe in all kinds of stuff.
No, I actually have done a deep dive researching QAnon and its religious underpinnings, and I see it as a cult and a psychological warfare operation.
You do? You see QAnon as a kind of a virtual cult, even if they don't all meet up?
Exactly. That's what the age we're living in is. People can be radicalized online. I learned this when I was studying ISIS recruitment online. Screens are very powerful, and especially with the pandemic, people get even more susceptible. But I want to be clear, I definitely have the impression she's a true believer when she was sending those texts, and that's why I surmise that she's been indoctrinated and somebody is pulling her strings around these things.
Yeah, it's really interesting when you look at it in that context and how we understand our politics. We've only just scratched the surface of your work, Doctor, but I appreciate you coming on.
Sure, my pleasure. Thanks so much.